is James Wan doing a ROBOCOP series, and should that be the way to go with the franchise? Got a lot of trailers that are dropping today. There's a lot of things happening in the world of movie news, and Clarke Wolfe, that's right, Clarke Wolfe, returning. Well, I guess she's never really been on this one. She's been on the Kristian Harloff show, but my friend Clarke Wolfe, who is just crushing it with acting, directing, writing, producing, everything. She came in studio, and we're going to talk to her about everything she's working on, that and more on this live episode of the Kristian Harloff show. Thanks for joining us here today. Let's get into it. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kristian Harloff show live episode. Kind of me by my lonesome in the beginning here, going over the stories themselves, and then we'll have the great Clarke Wolfe on to talk about everything she's going on. It's a great conversation. I loved having her in studio, and I'd love to be able to catch up with her. She was in New York, and this is what I love about Clarke. She didn't, when she reached out, wasn't reaching out to try to do the show. She was reaching out to say, hey, I'm going to be in the city. You want to get together and say hello, grab something to eat? And then I was like, hey, if you can, I'd love to have you on the show and talk about what you're doing. She said, yeah, I can do it. So she took the train in. We had a really nice conversation, grabbed some coffee. It was great to catch up with her. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy the conversation. So I already see people are putting questions in there. I appreciate it. I doubt I'll be able to beat this record of Steph and Roxy. No, I should say Steph and Mike yesterday. The two of them, they had over 80 questions yesterday. So if I could do that by myself, that'd be wonderful, but I doubt it. Lots of stuff going on here today. Put the Agatha reaction out, episode 3 with my wife and I. Got the Deadpool reaction with myself and Sam. I, of course, have seen Deadpool before, but Sam, I think, had seen maybe 10 minutes of it and didn't remember any of it. So it's a great reaction by her. That'll be up tomorrow. Anyway, let's get into this first topic. And I was noticing as I was going through what we should get into today, or what we should at least lead to. And I've been talking, the reason why I wanted to lead with this ROBOCOP story was I've been talking about this A24 version of it and this kind of smaller version, raw thing. And now there was announced there's a TV show, and then that James Wan was going to come on. I was like, this is a good way to take old IPs like this and really do something with them. So here's the report itself. Here it is. James Wan is going to produce the ROBOCOP series. Now, back in April last year came the news that Amazon Studios was going to move forward on film or TV development on multiple franchises in the MGM library. Smart. Those on the slate included new takes on Stargate, I like that, Legally Blonde, interesting, and ROBOCOP, with the latter getting a TV series. A year and a half on that series is beginning to take shape. The Hollywood Reporter reports that Aquaman and The Conjuring filmmaker James Wan has boarded the project as executive producer along with his Atomic Monster production company. In addition, Peter Ocko from Lodge 49, The Office, has joined the project as both writer and showrunner. They joined the already set executive producers Michael Clear and Rob Hackett on the project, which is being produced in-house at Amazon MGM Studios. The project is being dubbed a serialized spin on the famed franchise and begins when a giant tech conglomerate collaborates with the local police department to introduce a technologically advanced enforcer to combat rising crime, a police officer who's part man, part machine. Paul Verhoeven directed the 1987 original, which became an iconic sci-fi action film known for its satire of American capitalism, moments of extreme violence, and iconic lines. It inspired 2 sequels, a reboot in 2014, and several TV series. I think this can really be something special if they do it right, but isn't that a lot of times when you say, well, yeah, isn't that anything? The thing with this is that they tried to do this in 2014, and when the tech at that time in 2014 was changing rapidly. 10 years later, the technology with AI and all that, you really could do something pretty special with the technology side of it and make it. You got to be careful that it doesn't veer too much into the Terminator aspect, Skynet style with AI, but you can do something with the tech. And I think you got to make it look a little bit more like the 1987 costume, though. I think that I understand. I get it that was a costume of its time, but it's kind of iconic. And when they tried to mix it up a little bit with the Joel Kinnaman one. It just didn't work as much. I didn't hate that movie, but it just didn't work the same way. And I would love to see a grittier feeling, almost like, and now everybody's going to say this because it's just recency bias, but if you took the kind of tone of what the Penguin is doing right now and you put that to a RoboCop series, it could be interesting. And let's talk about the fact that, James Wan is going to be doing it. James Wan doing this is another reason why. Like, is he going to direct any of the show in the same way that you get people, whether it's John Watts, who's doing The Old Man and other stuff, having him come in here and do that? That would be great. That would be great to have him do that, plus produce it. And then you also see what MGM is doing, Amazon is doing with their properties. And I hope that they do. Stargate, to me, I know that they did a series with Stargate, and to do another movie, and then maybe if the movie is really good, turn that into a series in the same way that they kind of what they're doing with Dune could also be pretty great. But I feel like if they do this right, and it's like almost where I didn't see the Chucky, the Child's Play series, but everybody raves about it and how great that it was, and everybody thought that franchise was cooked. And they're like, Child's Play stuff again? Why? Why are you doing that? And then it was like, they did it pretty good. They kind of revitalized it. That's what I'm talking about. You do something like that where you can actually revitalize the franchise. The Top Gun, other things. This is why I never say when people go, oh, that thing is dead. That thing is dead. Nothing is dead. Nothing is dead. If you can still do something with it, and there's still a team that has a different take on it, nothing is dead. You can always revitalize it. So, anyway, relax. I fixed the thumbnail, you turds. Come do what I'm doing. There's so much right now. There's just a lot. This morning, to record a whole bunch of stuff, put something up on the channel, and then we were just filming for Matt Serra's show. We did the Rocky movies, which is going to air on Tuesday, but we went a little long. And I was like, okay, now I got to prep for the live show. Give me a break. And it's already, we already changed it. And I'm excited to see how we're going to do this show. So I asked you guys what you think. Go ahead and put your comments in there. Tell me exactly what you think. I have not seen the ballerina trailer yet. I know. I think I might do a reaction to it when we get off of the show here too. So, as I said, if you have your super chats, you put them in there now. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a couple of these topics. I'm going to play the Clarke Wolfe interview. I'm going to answer those questions. You guys keep me on as long as you want. And then I'm probably going to do the reaction to it. We have a lot of stuff going on the channel. As I mentioned, we have the Deadpool thing coming. I got the Penguin immediate reaction for episode 3. Plus the reaction to that episode. I'm going to do a non-spoiler of the Wild Robot. All of that. So let's keep on going, man. We're trying as hard as we can to give you guys as much stuff, entertaining stuff, that we can. So we're trying. Tomorrow, Winston and Coy are going to be back. It looks like the reactions to the ballerina trailer have been pretty good thus far. So I'm excited to check that out. There's also the Last of Us Season 2 trailer. I have to check that out as well. So let's talk about the Thunderbolts, because I think that for the most part, most people are surprised about this trailer. So a lot of people who, Sarah was just in here before talking about how great he thought the trailer was too. And I was very surprised by it. I thought it looked a lot better than I was expecting. So let's talk about what the Thunderbolts, one of the Thunderbolts stars said, and here is that story. And Marvel Studios unveiled the first trailer and the poster for their Thunderbolts film earlier this week, and one detail with the film's one sheet quickly led to speculation the marketing team may have used AI to create their artwork. According to Comic Book Movie, the one sheet boasts numerous characters fighting among them, all crammed into the frame of the poster art. In the lower left corner, however, people suggest something strange about Sentry, who was played by Bob Pullman. Bob Pullman? Sure. Louis Pullman. In the art, the character's hand has his fingers bent and partly out of frame in such a way that without looking closely, you could see him if his hand has a thumb and five other fingers. A quick AI image generators are infamous for. Now, the Marvel infamously came under fire for use of AI-generated imagery in the opening credits of its Secret Invasion series last year, and the trailer showed the Pullman's character in the film as the standard thumb and 4 other fingers on each hand. It didn't take long, however, for others to point out that due to the angle the hand is positioned, you can see it is the regular 5 digits on his hand after all, with his pinky finger partly cut out by the side of the frame. The talk got loud enough that Pullman was asked about it by Collider, and he says the image did initially fool him too at first, and ultimately he found the brief controversy fun. He said, "I've heard about the 6-finger thing, but if you look closely, there's actually no mistakes going on. I actually spent some time because I was like, did they give me a 6th finger? But they didn't. It's just cropped at the right point where it looks like there's an extra tip happening or something, but that's about it." I love that. The trailer has also generated talk about Avengers Tower from the film, with keen-eyed viewers of the trailer noticing that Julia Louis-Dreyfus' Valentina Allegra de Fontaine appears to be the new owner of the facility. So there is the poster itself. Let's see. Whatever. I can't see it. Anyway. There it is. The poster is going to always be these things. People are going to lose their minds if somebody uses AI. I ask you guys this question, though, too. You know, our generation, it's going to be constantly talking to people and saying, why are you using AI? Why are you taking jobs? Why are you doing that? And I think rightfully so. The question is, when do you think we will be ignored? Because we will be ignored. You know that. I think everybody knows that. It's just the inevitable. It's going to happen. And I don't think it should, but I think it's going to. And I think that eventually people will be, because AI is going to get better and better and better to where you're not going to be able to tell about the 6th finger. You're not going to be able to tell all this stuff. You're not going to be able to tell. That's why one of these things when they're like, you know, these things happen, and there's sometimes when you're like, oh, like I've done what I used to do is I used to Google image of a thing and I put it in there. And there was one, I don't know what the hell what was it? I can't remember. It was a Star Wars thing, whatever it was. But I took a Google image, put it, and there's one particular fan that anytime, very supportive fan, that any single time there's anything even remotely, is like, why'd you use AI? I was like, you did? And then I'd change it or whatever it was. And it's like, people just pay attention to this stuff pretty quick. And someone says it rightfully so in the comments here. It should be a optional tool, not a replacement. I agree with that. I think that's true. But anyway. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But the other conversation I think that around that is just how the Thunderbolts is getting more press, and that's good because I'm curious, and I hope it does well. I think it's a different movie it's their idea, the Suicide Squad, or their answer to it rather. So I'd like to see how it's going to do. I'm rooting for it. I hope it's going to do well. What do you guys think? Do you think that it's going to do well? Do you not think it's going to do well? Do you want to see it? Did you like the trailer? Put your comments in there. Tell me exactly what you think. Before I get to Clarke Wolfe, and before I show you guys everything that she's been working on, I wanted to tell you guys about our friends over at AG1 and Hims, and let's tell you about both of them right now. Let's talk AG1. I love AG1. I had it this morning. I love it. It helps you build a healthy morning routine. 60 seconds to get your daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, more, and I've been drinking it for, forever. You can't be part of this show if you haven't heard me talking about AG1. I'm going to give you a couple of fast facts about AG1 and how it supports your gut health. It contains prebiotics, probiotics, and gut-supporting ingredients to support your digestion, reduce bloating, and keep you regular. In a research study, 80% of participants noticed less gas and bloating after 30 days of drinking AG1. For me, I've had a lot of changes since I started to. I sleep better, better gut health, my focus, stress, all of it. It's just great. AG1's powder form makes it easy for your body to digest and access the nutrient-dense ingredients in the formula. They've been around with us for so long because so many of you guys have been doing it also. You've been getting AG1, you've been checking it out, you've been changing your routines, and it's worked. So if you want to start and notice the difference for yourself, it's a great first step to invest in your health, and that's why they've been a proud partner of mine for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of Vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 Travel Packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/big thing. Go ahead, check it out. Hims. Guys, when we leave the house, whether you got your phone, wallet, keys, how's your hair look? But if you're experiencing hair loss, you may not be so confident when you step outside your door. Now, you got to get confident again, and you got to restore your hair. And you do it with Hims, because nobody wants to lose your hair. And for men, it's common. And now with Hims, the solution is simple. You try Hims hair loss solutions, and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who got their flow back. Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all the way from the comfort of your couch. They offer personalized chewable, orable, spray, and serum treatment options so you can find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online. Just answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if the treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if you feel like you're losing a part of yourself with your hair loss, get Hims and get your confidence back. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/bigthing, HIMS.com/bigthing for your personalized hair loss treatment options. So that's hims.com/bigthing. Results vary based on studios of topical and oral mixodal. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. All right. Thank you to our friends over at AG1 and Hims. And as I mentioned to you guys all the time, if you want to help out the show and you're able to help out the show, go ahead and get yourself something wonderful. The AG1 Hims, do it. Okay. So I had mentioned to you guys, and you saw on the thumbnail, Clarke Wolfe, a friend of mine, and someone that if you were watching during the Collider days or the Schmoedown days, then she doesn't really need an introduction at all. She's been doing so much. She's a really great actress. She is a director. She's a writer. And I'm so happy for her, everything that she's doing. She was in New York, and I had a chance to catch up. So I'm going to, and we talked about the business and everything else too. So, excuse me, I'm going to show you this interview, and then we'll come back afterwards and enjoy my conversation with the one and only, the great Clarke Wolfe. Okay, here it is. Give me a second. I think I don't know why it wasn't working on the, give me a second. I feel like I know what it is, but you got to give me a second. You can actually watch the setup. Like I said, I had no time to do this shit. I need help, guys. I need fucking help. I'm doing everything by myself right now. Let me try this again and see if I can get this, but it's this, I'm running out of steam. Give me a second. So you're going to see this. Give me a sec. Grab some coffee, something too. And I said, wait, you're in New York. You got to come on the show. You let people see you. And I am talking about my good friend, Clarke Wolfe. Hello, Clarke.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You got so much going on.
Oh man,
I love it.
I'm so happy that it looks that way.
You do. You got a lot going on, man. And that was the other thing. Was so funny that you texted me right after I got this really cool email.
Yeah.
And it's like the publicity blast. So tell everybody what email I got.
Yes. So I am in a new horror anthology called Tenants.
Yes.
And I play a character called Belinda, who is a wellness influencer.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise of the movie is this entity kind of crash lands in the garage of this apartment building, and she is trying to find her sister. But as a result of her being there and kind of like breaking through the space-time continuum and like messing everything up,
Sure.
all of this, everything gets exaggerated, everything gets heightened, people start killing each other, like it's a dark comedy in a lot of ways, but my segment is called Need Anything, and it's two roommates who can't stand each other, and
that's fun.
Yes, and I think that that's what's really cool about our segment in particular. I mean, the whole movie, I'm friends with all the filmmakers and everybody. This is a real indie movie. Like everybody worked really, really hard, and they did a lot with very limited resources, but I'm very proud of how the movie came out. But we were thinking about what is like relatable to everybody, and I think everybody can relate to roommate drama.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, so when you are doing that role, like, without, obviously I don't have to mention names, but you're pulling on old experiences, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all kind of and like, you know, it's funny. My character is Belinda's very high strung. She's a very type A. She labels her eggs. She labels everything. But you know, it's I will say, like, you know, as crazy as the movie is, because basically I kill my roommate. And then she wakes up.
Wait a minute. I guess I don't know that. Yeah,
and then she kills me, and then I wake up. And so then we just keep, it keeps going. So it's a horror comedy. It's very dark. It kind of devolves into like a Sam Raimi. The special effects are really on display here. But so it's very heightened, it's very silly. But the overall theme, and I've talked to the co-writer Mary O'Neill about this a lot, was you get to a point in your adult life where you kind of think like, it wasn't supposed to be this way.
Right.
Like, this isn't what I thought my life was going to be. And that is the little nugget in every single one of these stories, is like, or the characters kind of grappling with that. And so for Belinda, for my character, you know, she's the girl that did everything right. So why has it not worked out for me?
Right.
And
we all go through that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's where that was more relatable to me than maybe like the roommate drama.
That makes sense. Cool. So and as we were talking on the way here, we know when this is airing, this movie will be ready for people to check out
on
now.
VOD. That's
right. Where?
They can go in, everywhere. It's released by Cranked Up Films, and you know, it's you can. I think you can rent it or buy it on VOD anywhere right now. And it's a fun, you know, spooky season. Get in the mood for Halloween kind of vibe. So it's fun. I think people will enjoy it.
I think that's I can tell you, even when I said you were coming on the show, to people that were just, you know, Clarke Wolfe was. You're still. It's like still in this. I love the transition that both you and Tiffany Smith have made. Not necessarily that you run away from it, but from this business, but you have taken those roots, those experiences, and taken. You've always had, from as long as I've known you, had this passion that you really wanted to pursue, acting, directing, writing, and you're doing it. And I think it's very inspirational. And before you came on, we were talking about like Jennifer Esposito, who was on the show, and it did not surprise me. Like, I watched that interview and I was like, of course you did, because she's doing what you're doing. We have to. Right. I think, and I don't think it's just limited to like necessarily women in the business. It's just, it's a wild time in our business right now. And I do think, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of, you know, that sort of like, there's that line that everybody says, was like, just go make a movie. You got an iPhone, just go make a movie. And I've been thinking a lot about that, because it's not that easy. No, you know, especially today. Even more so. You think it is, but there's so much more involved into it. Exactly. Yeah. And so while I would encourage anybody who hasn't had that experience, you know, hasn't made a movie, to just go make something like that, I support for sure. But I think that people in the business that have been in it for a while, we're trying to find our way now that the industry overall is in such influx. And so whether it's me or, I mean, I'm not comparing myself to Jennifer. She's been in this business for so long, and she's far more well-known than me. But like, we're all kind of going, okay, we've got to make this happen for ourselves. Otherwise, it's just not going to. Playing the game. Exactly. And it's funny you say that about the business in general, because I have an idea that has a lot of things attached to it that 15 years ago you'd go, oh, someone's going to make that. I call two producers that I know from my time, and they both said, yeah, this is a great story, it works, but the question is, I don't want to even give away the genre yet, but the genre is like, for where the genre is, people aren't buying that genre right now. People are, the story works and you can get the rights to this, but there's only two places I know that could potentially take this right now. And it's like, and I was like, well, what about just like a good story? And there's so much more combined to it that people don't understand, especially, well, it's a good story, people will make the movie. It's not really not how it works.
Yeah, I gotta say, what I think I learned from the strike and the strikes and listening to industry professionals who are a little further along in their careers than maybe I am talk about it is, and from my own experience, so I think that there's not an incentive in this current climate to actually get something made. You know, like for executives, let's say, they're just trying to not get fired.
100%.
You know, and I have.
There's a rare few. There's a rare few that take the shots, and you hear about them.
And I want to be clear, like I'm not. I'm very sympathetic to what the executives are going through.
Right.
But you know, even on the strike, the Deadline did a podcast called Strike Talk, and they had a couple of producers on talking about what it means to be a producer, and they were saying we are advocating for movies. We want to get our things made. We can't get anybody. We can't get the finances to do our jobs.
Right.
And even when we do, we don't get the return. And when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, you know, like millions and millions for me. You know, they're saying like we can't survive. We're having to take loans from our families so that we can produce these films so that we can maybe one day get paid back. And that's just not the way that the industry has gone for or how it has been up until this point.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I've been bringing it up on my show maybe every day about how budgets, overblown budgets, producer fees, all these things, talent costs, inflate budgets all of the time. Yeah. It's why I talk about like Blumhouse. So you know me, I'm not a big horror fan, but I'm a fan of smart business.
Yeah.
These people made a movie about a haunted pool. And it made money because they made it for nothing.
Yes, correct.
They made it for $4 million or whatever it was. They got a good cast, good acting, didn't overblow your budget, all these other things. You see, like there was a story about like Beetlejuice 2, which I'm so curious about your thoughts on that in a second. But Beetlejuice 2, there's this whole report where they almost made it a streaming movie. Tim Burton wanted to put $145 million into it, where they got him to bring that down to 100. And the reason why it was going to be so much, producer fees, actors, all that, and they basically gave people points on the movies and they got it down to 100.
Right.
It's not an international movie. That has clearly proven that. It's making all its money domestically. But it was the right call for everything involved because it's a big IP and it worked and it was an iconic character.
Yeah.
And he was passionate. He didn't just do it for the money. He was passionate. He wanted to make a story. But I always wonder why, like Terminator is a thing that I talk about all the time. Why in the world isn't there like an A24 Terminator, old school 1984 Cameron style? You know what I mean? Like and instead of these 200 million overinflated budgets.
I tell people, I say this perhaps rather egotistically all the time, but if someone would just give me $25 million, I would replicate Jason Blum's business model from 2010 to 2018, where he was releasing, finding auteurs in the making, often bailing them out of director's jail. So think about it. Scott Derrickson, director's jail. James Wan, director's jail. And then Rob Zombie giving him, money to make Lords of Salem. But these guys were making movies for $1 million with little to no creative interference. Everybody is working for scale. But if it hits,
get some points.
Then you get paid, right? That's Ethan Hawke famously did that for The Purge.
Right.
And
worked out for him.
It worked out for him, I'd say. James DeMonaco, similarly. But I guess my point is that Jason was so smart in that he was not afraid to quote unquote lose money because all you got to do is have one of them that year go, and then you good for that year.
100%. That business model is. I don't
understand, and they've kind of to be fair, like they've gotten away from that. I mean, even their smaller budget, like you're right, Night Swim was a smaller movie.
But even if they're making movies for $40 million, because they have it now to be able to use, and you can still make a profit of that. Because I'm okay with spending a lot of money on marketing because you got to get awareness out there. That makes all the sense in the world. But like when you see these. The last Fast and the Furious movie, Clarke, cost almost $400 million to make. It made $800 million and it lost money. That is an embarrassment.
Yeah. I don't disagree. And I think also, like, Universal had a really great year that year. And so I guess that's how the calculation works, is ultimately it's all.
Well, I think it's going to make $1 billion. They're throwing that $1 billion dart, and it's like, Jurassic World is another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you love to see like a $70 million Jurassic Park movie, like just kind of scale, like A24 style, instead of like, let Universal do it, but do it for like $80 million. This next one apparently is going to be close to $200 million. They're doing monsters all over the place again, and it's not that kind of contained story, and it's.
Well, I think that's
boring.
what we're seeing. Speaking of Blumhouse, they and Universal are teamed up on revamping the Universal Monsters.
Again, huh? Giving it a shot.
Well, it launched in 20. Remember the Invisible Man,
yes,
Lee, which I love.
Yeah, me too.
But of course, that happened right. I think that was the last movie I saw before COVID. It was February 2020.
Okay.
But it was very successful.
It was.
And they did that. Lee Winnell, brilliant filmmaker, but he did it for not a ton of money. And then now we have Lee is doing The Wolfman, and that'll be out in January. And I do think, like, I don't think it's under sub 10 million, but it is a smaller stab at the Universal Monsters. And I think that this is a great example of, like, okay, you've got the IP, you've got innovative filmmakers. They're not making it for nothing, but at the same time, they're not throwing $100 million at a Wolfman movie, because what if people don't want that movie?
Exactly right.
And that's, it's kind of what happened with the Alex Kurtzman Mummy movie. Like, it's unfortunate that it sank the entire concept,
right?
Because I don't think that that's fair to the entire concept.
No, but that's bad studio market. That's bad studio decision making, because they think that at that time, that was like what, 2015, 2016, something along those lines? Something like that. And they think that because at that time, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is annihilating, and they think it's going to be, everybody just wants to see a shared universe, and they don't realize like what's going on with the sauce involved. And you got to get people invested in it. And if that, in the same way, like you look at what's happening with DC right now, right?
Yeah.
That Superman movie has to work. If it doesn't, you're going to have to, it's the Mummy all over again.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to go. That's a big head scratcher for me, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I believe in James Gunn and Peter Safran 100%. And I'm very excited. I love Superman. I love the character. So I want to see what they want to do with it, but I worry about the timing. I think if I've learned anything, it's like timing is everything. And unfortunately, you can't predict necessarily the timing of something where it's going to really resonate with an audience.
Yeah, they seem like they want to really lead with him, because if he works, he's like Superman's the staple of DC, because he is that form of goodness, and they're taking that approach this way, very different to what like Zack Snyder did. So they're going to do, if he works, and then they lead, then Supergirl is the next one after that. Then they're going to do the Lanterns TV series. So the plan is there. They have the plan. It's just you have to hit with that first one.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
it's going to be interesting. But talking about making movies and being in movies and heart, it's not the only reason. You're not here just for your feature film that you're in. You're doing it again. What you got a short going on? What do you got?
So I have directed a short film called A Shining Example, and I am in New York because it is playing at the Soho International Film Festival.
Awesome.
A Shining Example.
When is that? When was that?
Yes, it was on Saturday.
Okay.
We had our world premiere at Fantastic Fest last year.
Sweet.
Last fall. So I've been kind of traveling around with this movie for this little short for about a year. And, but I've been doing that part all by myself, like, in terms of the submissions and in terms of the festival elements. And it's been a wild year for festivals. I mean, because of the strike last year, a lot of people made short films. So it's been really hard to get into festivals this year because they're oversaturated. Right. But it's been a really wonderful experience. The premise of A Shining Example is it's The Shining with a mom.
Okay.
And so I had the opportunity. I co-wrote this with my co-writer Dylan Guerra, who it was a writer on The Other Two. I don't know if you saw that show. It was one of my favorites.
Aware of it.
Yeah, it's really great. It's on HBO. But and then I play the lead, and an actor named Andy Cohen.
Yeah, that's Molly Shannon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the other two.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Andy Cohen, not from Bravo, plays my husband. And yeah, it was a really, really fun experiment. It was a really fun opportunity. And I am absolutely bitten by the director bug. I
love
love
that.
it.
So that's a great, I guess, follow-up question. Is that so obviously the acting bug is still there and you want to do more things, but because of this and bringing up Jennifer Esposito again, where it's like she had that idea for Fresh Kills and it just wouldn't leave her alone, right? So the same thing, I guess, is there's so many different, I mean, I've known you now which is nuts, over like 12 years.
Yeah.
And you always are cooking ideas and moving things of what films, TV shows, things like that. So are there tons of things now because you're like, oh, well, I've done that now. I know how to do that more so than I did beforehand. I want to learn more, gonna learn more. But like, is there something you're like, oh, that's the one I'm doing next?
Yeah, well, right now, stay tuned, y'all. In November, I'm teaming up with Sam Levine to direct
know that guy.
Sam in something. Sam and I are going to co-produce a project together, and he will be my star, and I will be directing, and it will be a fun slasher adventure.
That's fun. I love that.
So stay tuned because we're going to need everybody's help. But I think
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.
That's just a little tease. But yeah, like that's something that I've been thinking about. So actually, and this hasn't been announced, and but I have the rights to a novel, a well-known author's novel, and I have adapted it into a feature. So I'm trying to get it set up right now, whether that is attaching talent, whether that is getting it set up at a production company. But that story is very, very dark.
Okay.
It's not a horror movie. It's a drama. It has supernatural elements, but it's not a horror movie, but it is heavy. So the thing I want to do with Sam is kind of opposite side of the spectrum.
Okay.
It has a sense of humor. It is fun. It is wild. Hopefully it'll be scary in some ways, but it's just a good time. It's silly, and I think we're gonna have a great time making it.
And you have a bunch of stuff just kind of cooking in your mind.
Yeah.
And but again, knowing you, these are not just things like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. These two things that you're mentioning will happen.
Yes, I mean, I will make them happen.
I know you
so
will.
one way or another, for sure.
Did you meet Sam through Schmoedown?
I did.
That's hilarious.
I did. I met him through the Schmoedown. It's really funny. And then, of
I want
course,
points now.
Yeah, no kidding. You get a special thanks in the credits.
That's fine.
No, it's funny too because we ended up hosting DC Daily together.
That's right.
And that was pure coincidence. So how lovely that we got to work together for 2 years.
Sam owes me. Sam
owes me.
I introduced him to you for you get some jobs there. I introduced him to his
Rachel.
wife. I mean, come on.
Yes.
He owes me. He actually, I would love to see him if he comes. If you guys, whatever it is, you would decide. I would love to see you guys. So what about speaking of Schmoedown? Speaking of just that life in general, do you miss being on camera doing that anymore? Is
Schmoedown?
Not Schmoedown necessarily, but just like in general how we, the life you led beforehand with podcasting all the time, pundit stuff, that thing. Is it just like, no, I have it, it's in there, it's like a tool and I bring back memories from it, but I don't necessarily need to pursue that anymore?
Well, let me break some news right now to you and your audience. There are no jobs in the world that we used to live in.
It's different. You got to make it on your own.
It doesn't exist anymore. Well, I don't want to say that to scare any YouTuber people who are watching and are want to work in that space. Like, yes, obviously, you just have to make it yourself. You have to build your own brand and honestly, the influencer market is incredible in terms of like what people don't need a brand anymore to get them that access or to give them that platform. They're building their own, and that's incredible. But to your point, like I actually reached out to a handful of brands a couple of months ago and was like, hey, I'm available. I'm looking. I would be down to if you want to sneak me in during Halloween. It's just a tough time across the business right now.
It doesn't surprise me to hear you say that because I don't remember who I had the conversation with. Might have been the air. Everything blends together. I don't remember. But it was such a different time then because when Ellis and I started doing this in like 2008, 2009, it was talking in front of the camera, two people in their bedrooms, doing this. And then you got Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, all this, just someone in front of the camera doing their thing. Then the companies, whether it's Nerdist, IGN, Screen Junkies, Collider, they said, well, why don't we get all those people and create our ESPNs?
Yes.
Right? And that worked for a little bit until the audience said, yeah, that's fun, but we just want to see them in their bedrooms. Like, it feels like they're, but a little higher production now.
Yeah.
Because we got to that point. But I think that that's why I went back to doing this. I'm more comfortable doing this. I'm not good working for other people. But yeah, that day does seem to be gone, as like the ESPN, CNN, the Fox News, whatever it is, all that stuff. It doesn't. They tried to get that, and it's not there.
Yeah, it's just, I think it comes down to the conversation we were having earlier about, you know, the audience. It's about, are the audiences going to show up?
Right.
And the other thing, though, that I will say that I think is really frustrating is that I don't think, especially in digital, anything has time to grow before it gets the plug pulled from it. You know,
That's true.
It's like, and I'm not talking about the Nerdist Collider, et cetera. That's, you know, its own entity. But I just mean, if you wanted to try something now and have financing or somebody like contribute and say, okay, I want to get into this market, I want to try this, there's no time to let anything build.
It's very similar to the film business, what we were just talking about.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I will say is something that I've started doing, and I hope people will, you know, check that out on social media, because I've been really trying to think about, what can I offer on social that's not just like, here's me at a thing, you know, which that's great. Let's share those victories and let's share those experiences. But I've really been trying to focus on, all right, here's my insight on doing festivals and what this rejection means, but this win also means. Or here's a perspective of getting a script sold. Or here's a perspective of as an auditioning. You know, like, I'm trying to, because I did realize that there were so many people who watched us talk about movies. And I think that whether you work in the business or not, there is an intense fascination with how we create film and television.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to not only let people in on that, but also educate people. Because I think there's a lot of speculation, and it's like, well, I'm a working professional, right? I'm not a movie star. And we've all been having this conversation about film and television because of the strikes,
Sure.
right? And so I think when people think about Hollywood, they think about movie stars and they think about name brand directors and producers and writers, when in actuality, it's mostly made up of people like me that are just working people who are trying to, who are just trying to, it's not about Bentleys and, like, you know,
just
diamonds.
To have a career that you can pay your bills, do your thing, and live your life.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I do think, though, I was always curious, and I guess no better time to ask than now. Like, when it comes to, like, yes, I do agree with you that there's like an insight and other things. I admit, my brain's always thinking I see a wolf's insight. But when that's happening and you're doing that, yes, the film insight and all that. But I think the other thing that, especially in YouTube, what is important that I think the audience is that they're connecting to you, right? They want to know more about you. And I always wondered why you didn't do like your own YouTube channel and why you didn't do your own thing. Like, because I feel like you have such a big personality, and like, the biggest thing that to me is not just the personality, because I can tell you so many different times how many people like, I want to start my own thing, and they have that thing to do it, but they don't have the work ethic to do it. They don't have the consistency. You have that. Like, if it was like, okay, Clarke Wolfe is going to start her own channel, but will Clarke Wolfe do 1 to 4 videos a week? I would say if Clarke Wolfe is doing it, then yes, Clarke Wolfe will do that.
Right.
Just curious, how come you never tried to do your own thing?
Well, I actually did.
Oh.
For a while. Especially when I was in the rotation of AMC Movie Talk, Collider Movie Talk, Nerdist. And you know what? Nobody watched. And I got to tell you, it is my opinion that the algorithm perhaps doesn't necessarily cater to people like me and my opinions. I think that there is something to YouTube that requires outrage, or it's not about just passion.
Sometimes
it's not about passion.
I've heard the argument, and I will tell you that I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that at one point I felt the same. My opinion has changed on that. I do think that yes, hate sells, outrage sells, and you can get an audience that way. And if you do it in a certain way, depending on what you're picking up on, you'll find that audience, right? But there's also a way to do it, and I'll tell you who taught me that. Greg Alba from Real Rejects. So when I was at Skybound, because I was so used to the way the algorithm worked when Ellis and I did it. And it was, okay, put a review out. Our subscribers are there. They'll watch what we do. Small review, doesn't matter. Then when I started my own channel, I tried to do a couple of reviews. Nobody was watching it. I tried to do these things. Nobody was watching it. Like, what's happening? It's like, it doesn't work. The algorithm doesn't work that way anymore. Thumbnails, description, consistency on when you're putting things out. And if that one video hits, you're not buying this.
No.
You give me that Sarah Silverman face.
I was listening.
I saw it. I know you so well. You're like, okay.
No, look. I think here's the thing. Here's the truth. Like, Greg is a great example. The Real Rejects guys are lovely, and Roxy are lovely. I just think that, I always struggle. If you think of successful female movie YouTubers. Do you know a ton of them?
I can name them.
Some.
I can name them.
And do they have gentleman counterparts?
No.
They're solo.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a couple that I'm thinking of, and they're
together with the dude.
Sure.
Okay.
Which is great. Also, no problem.
Sure.
Like, great. But I just the people that I think are having reach and having that success, they're perhaps a little their tone is not my tone.
Fair. Okay. Well said. Well said. I still think that you should try it. I think you have person. You're not afraid to hold back your opinions.
If only you knew what I really thought about things. It's just so funny that over the years I've gotten
Changed a little bit more.
No, that I've gotten that reputation that sort of like you're not afraid to hold back your opinions. I mean, I don't say a lot.
Right, but when you do, the things that you really but there's stuff sometimes that you know that you're like, I don't necessarily, like, I'm feeling this way, but I don't necessarily need to say it.
Sure.
There's other times when you know you need to say it that you say it.
Sure.
That's more so what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, here's the other thing. Now that I am really, really trying to professionally make movies, whether that is in front of the camera, whether that is directing, whether that is producing, I really hope that this script that the book that I adapted, I really think that would be a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Because the material is it's not about me patting myself on the back. It's like, I think that the book it is based on is so great. And
yeah, you want to tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I also feel like now I really am I try to be very careful when I do any sort of commentary on movies or TV, because the truth is I know how they get made.
Right.
And it is like, I've thought a lot about, YouTube is forever. And so some of those, old conversations that we've had online about movies and TV, like, at the time I always tried to be respectful. But now that I'm in it a little bit more, I just have a little more context. And so I can watch something and be like, well, I see what happened here, and it's not fair necessarily.
Well, that's also why my question earlier about like where it's not as much how you were pursuing that all the time beforehand, where it's now because you're in this, you want to make movies, and I understand that. I think that in the same way that like I don't, when I was doing stand up, and I was still doing it when Mark and I started, that I wouldn't really ever review anybody's stand up comedy. I would run into these people. I understand what it's like when you're crafting jokes and you're doing those things. Yeah. So I get that. And it's also when you're not doing this all the time, like, look, there's a perfect example like Chris Stuckman, right? Chris Stuckman is someone who's been reviewing movies forever. And now he's making movies, and he's got some big names attached to his stuff. And he then decided, he said, well, I'm going to review movies differently now. And I'm going to not do it. I'm not going to be as critical with certain things he's not going to shit on movies anymore, because he doesn't want to piss anybody off that he probably could be potentially working with.
Sure.
The business side of it, I understand. But the problem that he's got is that he's a critic. So his audience is going, wait a minute, but I'm here to hear you critique movies. And then that's a totally different conversation. And generally, I think he should be allowed to do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Of course.
But I also think that the audience is allowed to say, I came here for this.
So that is exactly why I'm trying to say, okay, if you're going to follow me on social media, let's talk about the business. Let's talk about this stuff. Like, let me let you in on the process of film festivals or this or that or whatever. But that's what I want you to have come here for. You know what I mean? Is like, I am a working actor. I'm a working industry professional. And so I hope, and also like, you know, the other day I watched In a Violent Nature, and I loved it. I loved it. And so I did a quick little video, and I said in the video, I gave it a 9 out of 10, which I don't rank anything usually, but like, you know, but I said there was one little issue I had with it, like, sincerely asking, because I Googled it and I could not find the answer. What is the answer that you all think to this question that I had? And that feels appropriate because I'm saying I've freaking loved this movie. And also I have a question. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I love everything you're doing right now. I really do. I love the fact that you're going after it. I like that still, like, you haven't just completely put this behind you. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it, and you're going to do well doing it. I do disagree with you that I think you could do your own thing and it'd be very successful. Speaking of Sarah Silverman, I don't think we've ever talked about this on the air. You know my story with Sarah Silverman. I told you many times over about that. And then I told you how many times I think you look like Sarah Silverman.
Yes.
And then you met Sarah Silverman.
Oh, yeah. I've met her a couple. Yes.
I don't think and you sent me that picture.
Yes.
When it happened, because we kept talking about it. I was like, there's so many times you do things. I'm like, oh my God, you remind me of her. And then you're like, look at this. What was that? Was that during Doug Benson's
Doug Loves
thing?
Movies.
Oh, okay.
It was 12 Guests of Christmas. It was pre-COVID. So that show was insane. It was me, Sam Levine, Sarah Silverman, John Hamm, Zach Galifianakis, Sean Jordan. Like the crew that night was just bananas.
What a fun show.
It was a fun show, and it was such a great, like, I love that picture. It's just a big cluster of all of us. It was really fun. Every now and again, somebody who's known me for a very long time will see that picture and be like, is that John Hamm? And I'm like, yes, Hilarious. It is. And in fact, that was back when Doug would do the prize bags, and I think he still does them. But Sam and I, Levine and I, had just gone to the WB version of like Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
So there was a printed out photo of the two of us, and that we put that in the prize bag. And John Hamm, I think Amy Miller made John Hamm sign it, autograph it. So
hilarious.
Out there somewhere is a photo of Sam Levine and I at the Pennywise drain, you know, from It, and it's autographed by John.
What a random, wonderful
If you
thing.
have this artifact, please contact me. I just think it is so funny. I'll buy it from you.
Or just take a picture of it and send it.
Truly. It's just the silliest thing that, how does that exist?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's such a good story. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm so happy that you were able to come in and to be in studios. It's wonderful to see you. So, just keep me updated on what you're doing, and hopefully I'll get to see you in November.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And for your audience, you know, again, if you're passionate about film and you want to support indie filmmaking, please check out Tenants. It's on VOD, and I play Belinda in it. And it's actually, I will say, it's one of my favorite roles I've ever played.
Okay.
There's a lot of great dark comedy in there, and it's very physical, and it's not just for horror people. Like it's supposed to be funny.
Good.
And it's more of what I want to be doing. So
what about the short? When will we see that?
So A Shining Example is going to continue its festival run, but that should wrap up by the end of this year, and I have a very, very good feeling. Since next year is an anniversary of The Shining. 19, so let's see, 80. So that means, what is that math? 45. It's 45.
Wow.
So since my film is inspired by The Shining, I am hopeful that it's going to be on a streaming platform kind of paired with The Shining. We're still trying to make that happen.
Well, there you go, guys. Clarke Wolfe making it happen. You guys got to make it happen, too. So support Clarke Wolfe. Go check out the stuff that she's working on. I'm so glad to have her in studio. Hopefully we get her on again, and then we'll be able to do now even virtual stuff, too. So having her back was great. And now back to me. Thanks, Clarke Wolfe. That was awesome. It was great to have her in, man. What a fun conversation that was. And I saw everybody getting engaged in the comments there and welcoming her back. And it was just really nice. And by the way, Tenants, right there. So she wasn't lying. It's really fun. She has a blast in this role. She has a lot of fun in this role, and it's great. It's great. She's great. She's really both of the actresses are really, really good. Both performances, I should say. And Clarke is just, you can tell she's having a lot of fun doing the role, and she gets to showcase a bunch of different things. So if you have a chance, you should check that out. So it's Tenants, and that's the great Clarke Wolfe. So I'm really glad that she had an opportunity to come in and talk about it because, she should be. She's very talented, and it was really great just to catch up with her. Okay, so here is the deal. Here's the deal. We are going to kind of close out a little bit, but we have some questions. I'm battling Tom Chattelbash here for the lowest questions asked so far. So I think he had 4, and I think I have 5. So I might have beaten him, but nonetheless, you guys want to ask anything, throw them in there. I'm going to let you guys know before we do that about both the Perfect Gene, of course, and our good friends over at PrizePicks. Now, if you didn't know about PrizePicks, I've been talking about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is, to me, and I think that you guys know, as I've been speaking about it over the course of the last, couple of weeks. They've been with us for a while now. But PrizePicks is pretty wonderful. It's easy. That's what I like about it. It is easy. Do you know about PrizePicks? Have I told you about PrizePicks? Have you heard about PrizePicks before I let you know? Well, you know now. Who is PrizePicks? Well, they are the #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And PrizePicks is the easiest, the most exciting way to play fantasy sports. Because unlike other apps, the PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. You do more or less just pick 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and you just watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. That's right. PrizePicks puts their members first, so withdrawals are fast, they're safe, they're secure. So when my picks hit, I get my money as quick as 15 minutes. That's the best. It's like, oh, how long do I have to wait? 15 minutes. That's it. Put it in there, done. And it's great because you get for me, it's like the winnings when they come in, you can keep a track on them. The players, when you can really look at all their stats and keep up with them, and it's great for right now what's going on with the Yankees for me anyway. But if you want to be a part of this, it's so easy, it's so simple. You download the PrizePicks app today, and you use that code BIGTHING, and you get 50% off instantly, $50 off instantly when you play $5. That's Big Thing. On PrizePicks, you get $50 instantly when you pay $5. So you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. It's PrizePicks. Run your game. And I think some people have told me already that they checked it out, and it's pretty great. I'm happy that you did. The other one that I have told you guys about many times over, of course, is the Perfect Gene. Now, you guys know about the Perfect Gene. I've been telling you about the Perfect Gene, and there's so many nuts that are getting hugged because you're wearing these kind of cardboard jeans. Well, not anymore. You get the Perfect Gene, and your life will get a lot easier. I was wearing, that's really all I wear now is freaking Perfect Gene, to be honest with you, because my wife loves them, and that's what counts. Your significant other, if they're on board with it, then you're in good shape, because the Perfect Gene, it's just comfortable, and that's what I dig about it. It's just comfortable. I really like what they have been doing with their brand. I like the idea that if I want to look classy, I can, and I just feel comfortable. The Perfect Gene, the beauty of it is if you go and you don't want to get your balls crushed anymore, you go to the perfectgene.nyc, and our listeners will get 15% off of first order. That's right. You can get first order, but free shipping, free returns, free exchange. You got to use that code BIGTHING at checkout. 15% off for new customers at the perfectgene.nyc with the promo code BIGTHING after your purchase. Then they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. F your khakis. Get the Perfect Gene. And they have so much more than just the gene. They have the perfect t-shirt. They got it all. So go and check that out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you to Clarke Wolfe for joining us. And it's going to be a short show as we are going to ask I think 4 or 5 questions that came in today. Winston and Coy will be in here tomorrow and probably do 10 times this. So Derek Johnson, who's been, I think, personally funding this channel, showing some support. Thank you, Derek. And then Josh Needle, who says The Last of Us Season 2 is the best trailer I've seen all year. This is the second game. The second game is my favorite of all time, and it looks like they're staying true to that story. Yeah, I think I'm going to do reactions to both. I'm not going to lie to you guys first. I'm going to stop, and I have to tell you the truth. I'm going to let you guess. What do you think? Don't be disgusting animals. What do you think while the interview was playing and I was doing the comments here? What do you think I was doing while I was looking at the comments? I want to see who can guess. And then if you say something filthy, you're wrong. So guess. Let's see. And see if anybody can guess it. And I'll highlight the comment if anybody actually gets it. See if who can guess what I was doing during fixing the audio issues. No, I was able to do. But eating a sandwich, wow, in the second shot. That's great. Now, who can guess what the sandwich was? Staring at the ceiling would have been a good guess. It was a good guess also. What was the sandwich? That's what we're dealing with now. Eating. You guys know me better than I thought. Not editing. No. See, that's what I should have been doing. Not roast beef. Nope. No. Bologna. No. Philly cheesesteak. Nope. I like everybody getting active here. Let's see. See if anybody can get it. I'm gonna. You were first. It was a good guess. Good guess. Playing Xbox 360. No. That was Ruben. No. You don't know me that well. Chicken parm. Getting close. I'll tell you that. But New York bodega cheeseburger. Now I'm getting even more hungry, even though I just ate. It was wait, Melissa got it. Meatball sub. Yep. Sorry, Jared. Melissa got it first. It was a massive one. I couldn't believe it. And it took me 2 days to eat it. I ate half of it last night, half of it today. So there you go. Okay, so we got a couple more questions. Now I think we have, how many did we do? So far, we did The Last of Us one. I didn't even get to it. Poor Josh Needle, who said The Last of Us Season 2 is the best trailer I've seen all year. Second game is my favorite of all time. It looks like they're staying true to that story. I'm going to check that trailer out, that one and the ballerina, when I get off of this. I'll start working on that. I have a couple more things I have to do. So the great Ed Haskell, who's just been an absolute maniac for years for us and keeping up in this chat room. He's like the chat room general. Yo, man, lots of reactions today. The ballerina trailer, John Wick spinoff is fire. Last of Us Season 2 trailer, it's great, but the Flow animated trailer is my favorite. Interesting. That one I didn't hear or see that one yet, but I will probably be doing the other two first, but I'll keep a lookout for that one. Ezekiel Barrera. Can't watch live while I'm working. I just wanted to pop in and say I'm loving your reaction videos. Thank you. Django Unchained versus Captain America. Who you got? Hard not to take Captain America. I love Django, but I think Captain America wins that one fairly easy. I think that, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, the reaction videos have been fun. It's something I wanted to do on the channel for a very long time. Both Greg Alba and Luke from Galaxy Geeks kind of been pushing me a little bit harder to do it, and listen to both of them and started doing it more. And I have been working. I've been trying pretty hard to do it. I think I got a really good team. Sam had a great reaction to Deadpool. She was nervous this morning because she texted me. She's like, I don't think I said enough. I said, you don't have to say, as long as your natural reaction is there, that's all I care about. She laughs throughout the whole entire thing. She cracking up throughout the whole. I go, they're there to see how you're going to react to the movie. They don't necessarily. If you have commentary, they're going to love it. But it's not. But it's got to be natural. And so she's getting used to it too. And I told her because she was worried about. Sam's just so great. I've known Sam for so long. I've known her since the first grade. Sam, Tina, of course, my wife, Matt. It's a great team. But Sam I've known for so long, and I knew Sam's just naturally hilarious and does not give a f about She says it how it is. Everybody on this show that I brought in says it how it is. And so I knew you guys were going to love that. So if you haven't checked out Sam on Logan, I'm curious of what you guys give me in the comment section. And I'll look in a second. I'm just going through these questions. Tell me what you think about the reaction crew so far, and what do you think of everybody? I'm curious I like introducing new people to you because I've done it for the last 10 or 15 years. We're introducing Mark Riley and Ken and Kuga and Tiffany and all these people that I have introduced throughout the years, and introducing some new ones to you. So I'm curious what you think. Remember when a young Brett Sheridan made his debut on the show? Well, we got some new people. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments of what you think so far about the new crew. Pete Parker, 2288. I'd love a gritty James Wan RoboCop. The recent game was so good. His death sentence was so underrated. So who would you cast? I like Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell is a good one for that. I like that casting. I don't know. Yeah, anytime they get the casting questions, Pete, it's tough for me because I can say, well, that person's a good actor. That person does this, but then when it comes to who they actually cast, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that person. So I don't know right away. What about you turds? Looking at the back chat, and like there were some nice people when I realized what I had to because like I said, I had to set the interview, and there's a setting on the thing you have to hit in order for you guys to be able to hear the audio. We ran out of time, and I didn't hit that setting. So then I saw some people. So people were nicely saying muted. Audio's not working. Audio's not working. And then you get the one guy, Eddie, what a lip reader. Thanks a lot. Eat it. How do you not ever have audio? What does that mean? I don't ever have audio? Then you wouldn't be able to hear what the fuck I'm saying. What are you talking about? Okay. So let's keep going. And we're going to, finally got that where I knew exactly what it was. Once you guys said the audio wasn't working, I was like, oh, I know what it was. And I think Luke was even texting me trying to tell me, but then he realized I got it and he deleted his text. All right. Any other questions? Maybe not. Yeah, I think there's a few more. Hold on. I'm still checking. It is a short question day. You guys don't give a shit when I'm by myself, but that's fine. All right. So let's see. Shay Markel. Hey, Chris, I'm sure it gets stressful, but I believe your fans know you're an entrepreneur and a small business owner. Thanks, Shay. Sometimes what comes to supporting small businesses are brief moments of imperfection. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just frustrating because what it was is that, like this morning, I had to cancel a trip, a business trip that I had to do. Well, not a business trip, something that I had to do for the business. I had to cancel it because I had to get to the office. And I made sure that I got the reaction up there, made sure the thumbnail was there, did everything, prepped everything that I had to do, was doing a few things. And then Matt came in, Sarah, and we taped his show, and it went for a while. And then I was like, okay, as long as I get done by a certain time. By the time we were done, it was like 12:45. And I'm like, shit, that's what I did beforehand. I made the thumbnail for this show. I got everything ready, prepped the show, got it ready. And then right as about to go on air, I just made sure that the Clarke Wolfe segment was ready to go. And I'm like, great, it's ready. I'm good. And then realized I had to put that thing in there when you guys were commenting on it. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot. But, such is the business I chose. So Roger Paulson, thank you, Roger. Just puts in a super sticker. Very kind of you, sir. Let's see. Shay. Okay. I love what you're doing. Thank you, Shay. And you're an inspiration, brother. That's very kind of you, man. Don't sweat the small stuff. Hard when you're in the moment. Afterwards, it's like, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. But when you're in the moment, it's tough. Derek Johnson, again, who's just been an absolute angel, we can call him. Thank you. Just putting some more support. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see. Oh, wait, and there's Nerds Exchange. Thank you, Nerds. Real number. How big would the Super Chat have to be for a Masters of the Universe 87 rewatch? When did you last watch it? Well, it's not a matter of the Super Chat thing. It's a matter of that if people are going to actually watch it. That's why it's got to be worth the time because, look, I'm putting the Deadpool one out tomorrow. I feel like people are going to watch that one. Sam's never seen it before. I think it's going to be pretty good. I mean, Logan did like something like 10,000 now. So that was worth the 2 hours of having Sam come in and do that. If you guys are watching it and commenting and being active on it, then it's worth doing it. But if nobody watches it, then it's not worth it. So I'm doing more and more people. Let's see. So Pete Parker says, Matt and Sadie are my favorite so far. I haven't seen the Logan reaction yet. Okay. Keep checking it out. Appreciate that. Patty Boy, the BO Boys cover box office. They're funny. I know you told me yesterday about them, and I never heard of them. Let's see. Is there anything else too? I was asking how she. Oh, I always read the chat. I just, like I said, when I have episodes like this and I can go through and I'm looking at it, I'm able to do it. It's not a matter of not wanting to. It's a matter of how much time. So Bradley Pooper, my old ass video is the funniest clip of all time. It was pretty good. I liked it. It was really funny. And then Pete Parker, live reaction for the trailers. You could clip it out. The problem is the audio side of it too. I have to. It's going to take a second for me to set up the damn thing and do all that. I mean, I guess you can watch me while I do it, but it's like I'm just going to do it when I get off the air here. I think that's it. That's it. So we did it, guys. We had a show today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed talking to Clarke. It was fun because I had when Clarke came in, she took the train. She took the train in. And we get to hang out for a little bit. And it was just like, it really was like just catching up with my friend. And then we just happened to also be catching up on air for a little bit also. But we were able to kind of just shoot the shit for a bit. Like I said, we went into town and we got a coffee. And she got, I think she got something for breakfast, which was really, took her to this good place. So it was nice. It was really nice to catch up with her. And and not to be condescending, I'm very proud of everything that she's doing right now because she's crushing it. So I think that's it. Okay, guys. Really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow, we got Winston and Coy, who are battling against Mike and Steph. And I think they had 81 questions yesterday. Can Winston and Coy do it? I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to cover that more. I'm going to have a Penguin reaction up on Saturday. I'll have a Penguin immediate reaction up tomorrow. We got the Deadpool reaction tomorrow. I'm going to do a non-spoiler of the Wild Robot. Got some other stuff too. So thank you for joining us here today. Thank you to Clarke Wolfe. Thanks to all you guys. Really appreciate you. Oh, and this is hilarious. Shay Markell. Hey, Derek, can I borrow $1,000? That's funny. Contest, it's just a fun thing, Alex. It's just a fun thing that we're going to do weekly. If people want to do it, they can do it. If not, they don't. It's just a fun thing to do. So I don't know why you're putting in parentheses, but if you want to be a douche on the loose, you can, or you're just asking the question because you're asking the question, you can also do that. But yeah, it's going to be going on for as long as we're doing the show because it's fun. And think that, that was the other thing. Would people, because as I'm doing these reactions to the Deadpool stuff and the other movies, would people want to see me do a reaction to the Vince McMahon thing? Okay. That's fair, Alex. That's why I said it both ways. I said either you're being a douche or being a nice guy. So or you're just asking, and I figured. So that's cool. I didn't take it that way. I was like, okay, either way. People can be. That's the problem with like the chats. You can't in text. You don't know the tone of it. So I believe you that you didn't mean it. So yes, people would actually. So should I do an actual reaction of the Vince McMahon thing? Maybe I'll do it, and then release that on Sunday and have Sunday content. Sure, right now Luke is like, yes, do that. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try to do that and I'll watch it and then I'll put it up on Sunday. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do a poll on the community tab and see if anybody wants to see me do a reaction to it. And if we get enough people do it. It's true. All right, guys, you rule. I appreciate you. And that's it. So join us here tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for being very active today on this chat, and everybody who put the questions in there. Oh, please use douche on the loose. It's the best. But Alex was not being a douche on the loose. Alex was just asking questions. But there are a lot of douches on the loose running around. Oh, there's one more. And you guys can guess who it's from. The great Derek Johnson, which he has deserved that moniker, the great Derek Johnson. Have you been watching this Vince doc? I mean, even outside the Vince stuff, some of this is just wild. You and Roka got to talk about the whole show. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do, I might have to do this now. I might have to. We'll see. That's right. Okay. So I think that's it. I appreciate you. Yeah, Derek the Great is what your new name is now. I'm not even going to call you Derek Johnson anymore. I'm going to call you Derek the Great. All right. You guys rule. I'll see you soon.